This is the first of two lessons that we're going to do on style sheets and master pages. And it's almost like, you know, how we use style sheets in HTML and then templates. And to get us going, what I'm going to do is just give you a rough idea how a style sheet works in this program, okay, Visual Web Developer. And it's pretty straightforward. What you basically do is try to first of all organize yourself. So over here on the right hand side, we're going to make a folder, and we're going to call it styles. Alright, so you could have more than one style sheet. Alright, after you make the folder, right click on that folder that just got made and click on add new items, and there's a thing called style sheets. Okay, and you can stick with that name, call it whatever you want, and you press add. And what it does is it puts you in, it's kind of a style sheet editor, and it puts in body right off the bat. And you could put something in there if you want. I'm just going to leave it alone. Now, we're going to come up with a bunch of the different styles, right? I'll show you a couple of the basic ones just to get you going. Now, you'll notice that over here in the top left corner now, there's a couple of new things that weren't there a few minutes ago. There's a little thing there that I'm going to press, and hey, this actually looks a bit like Dreamweaver. And then what you do is you pick an element. I'm going to go with H1. It's a classic one we start off with usually when we do style sheets, and then I'll press OK. Alright, and there's a little spot that opens up, and now if you want, and if you knew your style sheets, you could just start doing your own thing. And there's a bunch of commands there which you could just click on. So it looks a lot like that top style light actually. Okay, I don't want to do it that way though. So I'm going to go over here where it says build style, and again, very much like Dreamweaver, this screen pops up and now you do what you want. So if you're using an H1, maybe you want the color to be, I don't know, blue. Okay, maybe you want it to have a border around it. So I'll do this dotted border, and I'll do it thin, and I'll do the border color maybe like a red. Okay, and you press OK. There's your first style. Now, how do you put it into your program? Just like you do any other time. You're right there, and you go up here and you press H1, and you start typing. Hey, where's my style? I thought I made it. Well, you made your style, but you didn't apply it to this page. You know how you have to basically either have the style be internally in the web page, or you link to it? Well, the best way is the linking, right? So here's a really cool trick that you use in this program to connect your style sheet to the page. You go over here and you just drag it onto the screen. Now let me just click here and I'll just drag it around the screen, let go, and it's made. And to prove it to you, let me go in the underground. I'm going to press source, and there it is. Okay, there is the link. That's one of the ways to attach a style sheet, and this is the best way to attach it. So now that style sheet is connected, and you're ready to go. And you can press enter, and we'll do some more stuff. Okay, let's make another type of thing now. The second kind of thing you can do with a style sheet is one of those things called the classes. Okay, so let me click over here where it says style sheet. I'm in the underground again. I'll move down a bit. So you always press this first. That's the rule, and you come up with a rule. And then this one I'm going to call red. Again, we're just going to keep it pretty simple. We'll do a more complicated one in a second. And I'm going to press OK. And the red class, okay, these are those things called classes now, is just going to be basically the red color. And this is red. Okay, and then you press OK. That one's done. Now we go back up here, and I'll just type the following. This is some text. Here is some more. Okay, so let's pretend this particular one right here, we want it to be all in blue, but not this one. Okay, so that's one of the purposes of a class, where you apply it only to certain things and not others. Okay, and actually I want this to be red, right? Because I made that the class called red. So how do you do that? Well, first of all, you highlight what you want to work with. Okay, or like if you want the whole paragraph, maybe you're going to type more stuff in here, right? You can press on the P letter. Actually, that's probably the way to go if you want this whole paragraph to be applied. But I'll show you both actually. So first of all, there it is. I picked it, but like, where do you say change the class? Down here, you can click on Apply Styles. I don't know if you see that very well. But if you don't see that, let's go back up here where it says View. And there's Apply Styles there too. I like this one better, to tell you the truth. Look what it does to the screen. Now you've got your stuff in here, okay? So there's a style to apply, okay? And I'm gonna press red, and now it's red. Okay, it's been applied. Let's go in the underground. Class red to the paragraph. Now, sometimes what you want to do is, you want to be in a paragraph. All right, let me go back in here. And, you know, you're typing away, but only one piece of this paragraph you want it to be like red. So let's just highlight just this one piece. And then press red. So only that piece is red. Show you what happens in the underground for that. It uses this thing called a span, and then class equals red. And then it says only between here and here I want it to be that particular class. So a little bit of both. Okay, and that's really all there is to using style sheets. Very cool, very easy to use, and it's pretty well like Dreamweaver, and so you know it should be very common and easy to use. Now, what we're going to do though now is make a more sophisticated one, and this example is going to help us review some really more advanced style sheet commands, and we're going to apply it to here, and then this will be like the jumping point to the next part of the video, which is going to be on what we call master pages. Okay, now when you make more sophisticated style sheets, you do them like the ones you did for your assignment, where you're going to make the style sheet template for a real part of our school webpage. And I'm assuming you've gone underneath the code and seen exactly what happens, and I just want to show you, and we're going to type this in. You know this part in here? When you do the more sophisticated style sheets, they would do all kinds of crazy stuff in there, and they break up the page into sort of a floating layout, and that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, we're going to create our sort of floating layout, a very professional kind of look to it, and then we're going to create each one of these pieces. Now, when you do these little sections, okay, and I'm going to stick with that div word, you usually have a wrapper page that wraps the whole page up in something. Usually it centers it on the screen and a bunch of other things. Now, none of these exist yet. We're going to make them, okay? But this is what we're going to do. Okay, we're going to paste that together. So that's going to be the wrapper page. So that's I'm going to press enter and move that right down. So my whole web page is going to be trapped between those two. Now, after you have like what we call the wrapper page, usually you have like a header, maybe a menu, and then the main stuff where all your things are. So let's do that right now. So we say div id equals header. Okay, so these divs and id, they're like classes, right? Same kind of idea. So the header is going to go in there, and actually just to remind you that the header is going to be going there, I'm going to say header here, or yeah, header goes here. Okay, now see how it's trapped in there? Header's usually not that big, so I'm not going to do anything crazy. Then we'll do the next one. Okay, so this one right here, after the header, usually there's like a menu or something. So we'll say div id equals menu. It's got to be in quotes. Okay, and then that's where we're going to do our menu. So again, I'll just type it in something right now. Menu goes here. All right. And now the most important one. Okay, so then the most important one is where you're going to put your stuff. Usually in these ones, you're not going to change stuff. It's just the body really of your website that you're going to do all your main stuff. And usually they call it the content or the main or something like that. I'll call it main content. Okay, and that's like the most important one, right? Now this one, watch, I'm going to press enter and go like this because I don't want it to be like just single file. And I'll press that down. Okay, so this is going to be your main content. And for now, I'm just going to do like maybe an H1. No, you know what? I'll just put test right now. I'll just put something in the middle there. I'll make it fancier later, but for now, we'll just leave it like that. Okay? After that, there's usually like a bottom section, right? And the bottom section, they usually call it like a, well, it could be two things. It could be like a bottom on right at the bottom, like a footer and a sidebar. So we'll do one that has a little sidebar. Okay, so we'll call it sidebar. Okay, so the sidebar goes here, and the last one, like I mentioned, is the footer. So I'll say div ID equals footer, and then footer goes here. Okay, so that is the classic example of how you set up a professional looking style sheet. Okay, now it's style time. So I've made a folder already. You right click on it and you say add new item, and then you go here and you can change that name or leave it like that, press add, and you start creating your style sheet. Okay, and you basically, all those little divs I had, they need to have definitions for them. So I'm just going to start doing the first couple, then the video is going to stop, and then you'll see all the rest of them. Now remember, these are divs, so they have to start off with a number sign, and you can hand type them if you want. Here's the first one. We're going to do a background color, and I'll try to cheat here and just go really quick like that. And then number sign, remember this is hex code. Okay, so that's going to be my first thing for the header, and I'm going to have a width of about 844 pixels and have a height of 83 pixels. Okay, and we're going to continue like that, and we'll be back in a second with the complete style sheet. Okay, so we're making good progress. Here's a bunch of stuff here. There's the header. There's the menu wrapper. There's the main content. There's the sidebar. There's the footer. There's the most important one, the page wrapper. Just make sure it's perfectly centered. Here's a class called red. The reason I came back from the video is I want to show you how to do one that has like two things in front of it. Okay, so let's click here. All right, and we're going to do a div, right? We're going to call it main content. And you're going to say, sir, you already have that. You're right, main content. But watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to press it over here. Okay, it's going to be the first level. So within the main content, when there's an anchor, there's going to be a rule that it follows. So now what you do is you can press here if you want and find A. There it is. And then you click on it and see how it becomes embedded in there. Then you press OK. And I guess you could have just handwritten that, but I wanted to show you how you did that in the program, and then you type whatever you need from there. Okay, finally done. All right, so when we left off, we were right there. I put in some code there, There's that hover command, so when you go over it, it's going to change colors and go to underline. I got an H1, and the last one, this class called introduction. Okay, so now what we do is we're going to go back to design, and whoa, that looks kind of stupid, but let's go. Let's drag this on the screen, let go. A little better. Okay, so you've got this kind of look to it that you're going to do. All right, so this is the final look for it. You might have noticed it looked a little bit different a couple of seconds ago. I didn't have a quote on header, so now when we look at it, there is the header. Okay, now let's modify the code a little bit, but that's the basic style. What we could do in the middle where the word test is, we could have maybe made that an H1, for instance. Let's go over here, and we can turn the heading H1 on. Okay, and then you can do what you want in there. Okay, so I'm just going to type a few things in. I already did the header as I was showing you. Now I'm in another paragraph, and we're just going to say we are glad you're paying a visit to our site, and then actually write down this fictitious site for this place that we're going to go to. And what's cool, watch what's going to happen after I finish this link. It actually made it green, and it made it a link. Okay, and then the coolest music site. So you can type as many things as you want. All right, and this one here, the coolest music site, I could make it red if I wanted to. I could do all kinds of little things to it. Remember, if you don't see it here, you go to manage styles, and you can turn on whatever thing you want to do. All right, whatever class you feel like doing. There's all kinds of different things here. Okay, so before we finish up here, I'll just make that red apply the style, and there it's red. So there's all kinds of features that you can do, and we're going to continue this in the next video, and this is our base for what we're going to do next, called master pages.